kids and adults. But when you have adults acting like kids, they get away with it if they're doing the same thing on a larger scale. And this is where we'll get into it in just a moment. Yesterday when I was standing right here, I said they're females, they're the progenitors of life, and that fact checkers need fact checkers because they're third party owned corporation lackeys that are big corporations explaining what would the government be doing under their guise. What would make you think the progenitors of creation are females when it actually is God? The Democrats, they're the ones pushing policies on where you can stand 6 feet, how you can look with your face, and then but it's the same corporation at LGBT. The Vatican just said LGBT same-sex couple, the Vatican is now going to be blessing you. In the Bible, it's like you're supposed to have a man and a woman, and if you don't, then you're taking away from what a creation is fundamentally. And so this was brought to me by a Democrat, and so I said to the Democrat, the Vatican also said that they would be blessing any alien extraterrestrial life if they happen to see any. The Vatican also said that they would be blessing any alien extraterrestrial if they happen to see any. And they're like, oh, I don't want to hear that. That's so out there. But then the only reason that I brought that up is because what they were bringing up was out there. And so meeting them halfway, they shut the floodgates. And this is what happens when how adults get to act like if Trump gets reelected, he's going to enact the Insurrection Act and start jailing his political dissidents. When they enacted the Insurrection Act and Trump was not even found guilty of it, and they're saying that's what he's going to do, when in all reality he should do that because they're the ones pushing for civil war and war in Ukraine against Russia because they can't control it. And when the wind hits the end graves, it alludes to really bad audio tracking. Time to step on some toes. Really bad audio tracking. No, but in all actuality, if the wind was going straight into the microphone in a certain direction, then it wouldn't have the sound of wind whipping in it because it would be going straight through it. And so that's the second thing, is things that can fix by themselves. When things are made like really big and propped up, the earth is the biggest example of this, and so like it can repair itself, and the more that like is being babied, it's like kind of how like when someone has a partner and then they lose interest in them, so they make them do more horrific stuff to arouse their potential. And it's because Jesus came to the earth as like a human, and so that was God coming to the earth as human, so that he wants everyone to be like human and not be part of experimental equipment. And so he didn't come to earth as like a robot with the sky on fire, because God chose that time. And so like I say sky on fire is because in the end times it's supposed to be like the sky will be on fire because everything will be so bad in like global warming. That's supposedly where the sky is going to be like shot up with all this stuff, because it is like always having stuff in it. There's all these particular matters, if you didn't know. that will be like a sign of end times. I want to be infinitely clear, so I don't take it as our government launched a hydrogen bomb into the atmosphere as if it just occurred. No, this was before the internet and its Operation Starfish Prime, and that's why in the past that they had all these bomb drills as the baby boomers were in school. They would always practice going underneath the desk. And a sign of the times is like, wow, so wear your hat outside if it's sub degrees because you don't want to look like a hero. And I'm mentioning like the sky being on fire. Our government has launched hydrogen bombs into the atmosphere just to see what it would do. China, they've made a plasma ball rise up into the sky. This is essentially a synthetic star, and no one cared. So this is what is occurring. So you have to read between the lines. Reading between the stars, a galaxy looks like a star, and if you're conflating one for the other, that's one way in going out. And it's always so off-putting when something isn't aged well, because like you can make a slurp and have it sound like, oh wow, that was a good sound effect. And then you watch the tape like 10 years later and the person is decrepit and that slurp sound is like, ooh, that is kind of nerve-wracking. And that's where like Jesus, he came back from the dead and then went ascended into heaven. So like he is always at age 33 like Peter Pan, but actuality like, and that's God in the flesh. So like his material is like for eternal, and it's not like ever gonna age unwell, anything that he did in his lifetime. And he lived the perfect lifetime without sin, became sin. The wages of sin are death. In all systems there's risk and reward. Put 2 and 2 together, that's the winning team. And if you want to support what I'm doing, all you have to do is just keep viewing. It's so funny that I'm so excited. I think like I have like hardcore fans because I get 2 views, and that's a lot for me lately. I get 0. But if this like material is so bad, the moment that I do get a person, I just found out how to turn on comments. It's like I feel like they're a hardcore fan base because this material is so lackluster, and the fact that they actually view it is like, wow. At first I thought it was just an algorithm of a fake view that YouTube gave me. So because every time I would upload something, it's like, I'm like, wow, this is a lot, just teasing me to upload more. Found out how to flip on the comments, and surprisingly, like, yeah, I took down a video whenever I get a view automatically because I know it's a bot, and then I upload it and it's 0. So that way I just double checked that facting and found out with the comments flipped on, because if you have it's only meant for kids, I guess that means your comments are disabled, and that's, you know, what I found out. Now I can comment. And what I just described was a logic gate, and there's all these different ways of making them. It's just like a knot theory. There's all these different knots, but the prominent ones, there's like a handful. In any system, there's always prominent ones with a handful. And one way in describing a logic gate is any gate is absorption. And so when you're talking about yesterday a flicker rate, the absorption, of course it's a logic gate. And understanding a prominent one that I found, I keep referring to because it's so real, is that the brightness everywhere, it's usually this phenomenon like when I'm in a pool because the water is reflective. The same can be said in winter or a parking lot because the windows reflect, shine, culminates together. It's called weird surface tension, and also found in radiating scattering, but that's on fine scales. It's probably the same in the accordance of light particles collecting because, well, that's actually what it is. And so within snow, it's instead of water, it's ice crystals, so it's reflecting off those and culminating. And so it's the same effect in a pool or snow. and so in wintertime it's snow. And so like when you face the sun, which in now my face is going to be looking darker than usual because it's the shadow, which only vindicates what I'm saying. So if I was to turn around, I'll get light right in my face. But my camera's so broken that it keeps going in quickly and zooming in. And I saw this yesterday is where my eyelid was acting as like this dividend from the shade to the bright, and it was cutting my eye. So it was half was bright and half was shaded by my eyelid. And this is what is a phenomenon of like pain of a logic gate when you're half in and half out, and so your eye can't adjust. And that's what happens a lot because my eyes, I have to learn how to keep them open wider, and but don't show the whiteness on the top of your eyes because then you look crazy. It's real. See if you can attribute that to someone when you're talking to them. And so this is similar to cataracts where they like you have nearsightedness or not farsightedness, so they cut your eye to have a lens of the two. Or in those sunglasses or spectacles where they have the refractions stronger on the bottom, or the like magnifying glasses on the bottom, so you can read them. But it's like you have a dominant eye too. It's in your right or your left. And if you're batting, you're like sideways. And if you can have your front eye be the dominant one, that's usually what it is when you're batting in baseball.